101. Lu Xun's fire attack on the linked camps. When news arrived in Shu Han that Cao Pai had proclaimed himself emperor, rumors spread that Emperor Xian of Han had been killed. Believing this to be true, Liu Bei held a mourning ceremony for him. His ministers, convinced that as a descendant of the imperial Liu family he should inherit the throne, urged him to take the title of emperor. Thus, in 221 AD, Liu Bei formally ascended the throne in Chengdu, becoming Emperor Zhaolai of Han. Since his realm was primarily in the Shu region, covering most of modern Sichuan, Yunnan, Guizhou, and parts of Shaanxi and Gansu, historians refer to his state as Shu Han. However, Liu Bei remained deeply grieved over the loss of Jingzhou and the death of Guan Yu at the hands of Eastern Wu. His first priority after assuming the throne was to launch a military campaign against Wu to avenge his fallen brother. The veteran general Zhao Yun advised against this course of action, arguing that the true usurper was Cao Pai, not Sun Quan. He reasoned that if Wei were defeated, Wu would naturally submit to Shu, making an attack on Wu unnecessary. Many other ministers also attempted to dissuade Liu Bei, but he refused to listen. Determined to punish Wu, Liu Bei left Zhuge Liang in Chengdu to assist his son, Crown Prince Liu Shan, and personally led a massive army eastward. Meanwhile, he ordered Zhong Fei to rendezvous with him in Jiangzhou, modern Chongqing. However, before Liu Bei could even begin his march, Zhong Fei's own officers betrayed and assassinated him, defecting to Wu. Having lost both Guan Yu and Zhong Fei, Liu Bei's strength was significantly weakened, but his desire for vengeance left him unwilling to reconsider his course. The campaign begins. Hearing of Liu Bei's advance, Sun Quan, fearing the strength of Shu's army, attempted to negotiate peace. However, Liu Bei rejected all offers. Within a few months, the Shu army had captured Wuxian, north of modern Wushan, Sichuan, and advanced to Zigui, in present-day western Hubei. Realizing that reconciliation was no longer an option, Sun Quan appointed Lu Xun as Grand Commander and placed him in charge of defending Wu with an army of 50,000 troops. Liu Bei swiftly occupied more than 500 miles of eastern Wu territory. Leaving Zigui, he was eager to push further east. His advisor, Huang Quan, warned him, saying, "The warriors of Wu are known for their skill in battle. We must not underestimate them. It is easy for our navy to advance downstream, but retreating will be difficult if the campaign turns against us. Let me serve as the vanguard to clear the way, while your majesty remains behind to support us. This would be the safest strategy." However, Liu Bei, blinded by his thirst for revenge, dismissed Huang Quan's advice. He ordered Huang Quan to remain in the north to guard against a potential Wei attack while he personally led the main force along the southern bank of the Yangtze River, marching through the mountains towards Xiaoting, northwest of modern Yizhou, Hubei. The Wu generals, seeing the Shu army advancing relentlessly, were eager for battle. However, Lu Xun restrained them, stating, "Liu Bei's forces are fresh and highly motivated. Furthermore, they hold the high ground in the upper reaches of the river, making them difficult to dislodge. If we engage recklessly and suffer a defeat, the consequences will be disastrous. We should bide our time and wait for them to exhaust themselves before striking." Lu Xun's approach frustrated many of the Wu officers. Some were veteran generals from Sun Ci's era, while others were aristocrats from the Sun family. They were already dissatisfied with Sun Quan's decision to appoint a young scholar like Lu Xun as commander. Now, seeing him refuse to engage the enemy, they considered him cowardly and incapable, muttering complaints behind his back. Lu Xun's strategy. From Wuxian to Yiling, east of modern Yichang, Hubei, the Shu army constructed dozens of large encampments. Using felled trees, they connected these camps with wooden barriers, forming a continuous line of defenses stretching over 700 miles. Liu Bei believed that this formation was impenetrable and that once the Wu army launched an attack, they would fall into his trap and be annihilated. However, Lu Xun continued to wait. From January to June 222 AD, the two sides remained in a standoff for half a year. Growing impatient, Liu Bei ordered General Wu Ban to lead a few thousand soldiers down from the mountains to set up a camp on the open plains and provoke the Wu army. Many Wu generals, eager for battle, urged Lu Xun to attack. But Lu Xun merely smiled and said, "I have examined the terrain. The Shu soldiers encamped in the valley are few in number, but I am certain they have ambushes hidden in the surrounding hills. They are shouting and making noise to lure us into their trap. We must not fall for it. His officers remained skeptical, but after a few days passed and the Wu army did not engage, Liu Bei, realizing his ruse had failed, withdrew the 8,000 ambushers he had stationed in the valley. Only then did the Wu officers recognize Lu Xun's foresight. The fire attack on the camps. One day, Lu Xun suddenly summoned his officers and declared that the time had come to attack. Some officers objected, saying, "If we were going to fight, we should have done so earlier." Now Liu Bei has occupied hundreds of miles of territory, securing all the key strategic points. What advantage do we gain by attacking now? Lu Xun explained, when Liu Bei first arrived, his army was full of vigor, making them difficult to defeat. But they have now been stuck in this area for months without gaining any ground. Their morale is low, and their troops are fatigued. Now is the time to strike. To test the enemy's strength, Lu Xun first sent a small force to attack one of the Shu camps. As soon as they approached the wooden barricades, Shu troops poured out from both flanks to fight them. Soon, reinforcements from nearby camps arrived to support them. The Wu soldiers, unable to hold their ground, retreated with heavy losses. The officers grumbled, but Lu Xun remained calm. "That was merely a probe," he said. "Now I know how to defeat them." That night, Lu Xun ordered each soldier to carry a bundle of dry grass and a fire starter. Under the cover of darkness, they silently took positions in the dense forests along the southern bank of the Yangtze. At the third watch, around midnight, Wu's 4 leading generals launched their assault. Rushing to the enemy's wooden fortifications, they ignited the dry grass and set fire to the barricades. That night, strong winds fanned the flames. Since the Shu army's camps were all connected, the fire spread rapidly, engulfing the entire encampment in an inferno. Within moments, over 40 of Liu Bei's major camps were in flames. By the time Liu Bei realized the disaster, it was too late. Amid the chaos, he barely managed to escape with his life, retreating toward Mount Maran with his surviving troops. Lu Xun then ordered a full-scale assault, surrounding Mount Maran and launching a relentless attack. The remaining tens of thousands of Shu troops were routed, suffering devastating losses. As the battle stretched into the night, Liu Bei led the remnants of his army in a desperate breakout, fleeing toward Beidasheng, modern Fengjie, Chongqing. Wu forces pursued them closely, but thanks to abandoned supplies and equipment blocking the mountain passes, Liu Bei barely managed to escape. Aftermath. The Battle of Xiaoting, also known as the Battle of Yiling, ended in total disaster for Shu Han. Liu Bei's forces were almost completely annihilated, and all of their ships, weapons, and military supplies fell into Wu's hands. Reflecting on his defeat, Liu Bei bitterly lamented, "To have been defeated by Lu Xun, was this not fate?" 1 year later, in 223 AD, while residing in Yong'an, modern Fengjie, Sichuan, Liu Bei fell seriously ill and passed away. 102. Zhuge Liang's 7 captures of Meng Huo. As Liu Bei lay gravely ill in Yong'an, he summoned Zhuge Liang from Chengdu to entrust him with his final wishes. Liu Bei said, "Your talents surpass those of Cao Pai tenfold. You will surely govern the state well. If my son, Ado, Liu Shan's childhood name, proves capable, then support him. If he is unfit, you should take the throne yourself." With tears streaming down his face, Zhuge Liang choked out, "How could I dare not devote myself entirely to repaying your majesty's kindness, even unto death?" Liu Bei then called his younger son, Liu Yong, to his bedside and instructed him, "After my passing, you and your brothers must respect the prime minister as you would a father." Following Liu Bei's death, Zhuge Liang returned to Chengdu and assisted Liu Shan in ascending the throne. History remembers Liu Shan as later lord of Shu Han. Under Liu Shan's reign, Zhuge Liang handled all affairs of state, both great and small. He worked tirelessly to restore the strength of Shu Han, striving to make the kingdom prosperous. However, before he could carry out his plans, the southern region of Nanzhong, modern-day southern Sichuan, Yunnan, and Guizhou, erupted in rebellion. The rebellion in Nanzhong. In Izhou Commandery, a powerful warlord named Yong Kai heard of Liu Bei's death and took the opportunity to assassinate the governor of Izhou, launching a rebellion. He sought an alliance with Eastern Wu while also reaching out to a local tribal leader, Meng Huo, to rally the southwestern tribes against Shu Han. Spurred by Yong Kai's incitement, various regional leaders, including Zhu Bao of Jianwei, in modern Yunnan, and the chieftain Jiao Ding of Shui, southeast of modern Sichuan, Sichuan, also rose in revolt. With these uprisings, Shu Han lost control over nearly half of its southern territories, putting Zhuge Liang in a dire situation. At the time, Shu Han was still recovering from its crushing defeat at Xiaoting and the death of Liu Bei, making an immediate military campaign impossible. Zhuge Liang first sought peace with Eastern Wu to stabilize the Eastern Front. He then focused on strengthening Shu's internal stability, encouraging agriculture, improving irrigation, stockpiling grain, and training troops. After 2 years, the situation had stabilized enough for Zhuge Liang to launch a military campaign to reclaim Nanzhong. Zhuge Liang's Southern Campaign. In March 225 AD, Zhuge Liang personally led the Shu army southward. His military advisor, Ma Su, accompanied him out of the city and escorted him for dozens of miles. Before parting, Zhuge Liang clasped Ma Su's hand and earnestly asked, "We have worked together for years. Do you have any parting advice for me?" Ma Su replied, "The people of Nanzhong have long relied on their rugged terrain and distance from the capital to resist Shu's rule. Even if we defeat them by force, they will eventually rebel again. I have heard that the art of war prioritizes winning hearts over conquering cities. In this campaign, Your Excellency must ensure the people submit willingly, only then will peace last." Hearing this, Zhuge Liang nodded in agreement and said, "Thank you for your wisdom. I will act accordingly." As the Shu army advanced, they swiftly achieved victory after victory. Even before reaching their main targets, the rebel leaders had already begun infighting. Jiao Ding turned on Yong Kai, and his men killed the traitor. Shu forces then marched into Shui and executed Jiao Ding. Zhuge Liang dispatched his generals, Li Hui and Ma Zhong, to attack other rebel strongholds. Within 2 weeks, Ma Zhong had crushed Zhu Bao's forces, restoring Shu's control over 4 commanderies. However, the resistance was not yet fully subdued. Meng Huo, now the most prominent remaining rebel leader, gathered the remnants of Yong Kai's forces and continued to resist Shu rule. Zhuge Liang learned that Meng Huo was not only a formidable warrior but also highly respected among the local tribes. Recalling Ma Su's advice, Zhuge Liang devised a strategy to win Meng Huo's loyalty rather than simply defeating him in battle. He issued a strict order: Meng Huo must be captured alive, under no circumstances should he be harmed. The 7 captures and releases. Using his renowned tactics, Zhuge Liang orchestrated a feigned retreat. Lured by the prospect of victory, Meng Huo pursued the retreating Shu army, only to fall into an ambush. His forces were routed, and he was captured alive. Meng Huo assumed he would be executed. However, to his astonishment, Zhuge Liang had him untied and treated him with courtesy, urging him to surrender peacefully. Unmoved, Meng Huo declared, "I was careless and fell for your trick. That does not mean I accept defeat." Rather than forcing the issue, Zhuge Liang invited Meng Huo to tour the Shu encampment. After inspecting the well-organized formations and defenses, Zhuge Liang asked, "What do you think of our forces?" With a proud smirk, Meng Huo replied, "I underestimated you before, but now that I have seen your setup, I know how to defeat you." Zhuge Liang laughed and said, "Then I will release you, prepare your forces and fight me again." After being freed, Meng Huo regrouped and launched another attack. However, he lacked strategic cunning and was again captured. Zhuge Liang urged him to surrender, but Meng Huo remained defiant, so Zhuge Liang released him once more. This pattern repeated 7 times. Each time, Meng Huo refused to yield, and each time Zhuge Liang set him free. Finally, on the 7th capture, Zhuge Liang once again prepared to release him. But this time, Meng Huo fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "Prime Minister, you have captured and released me 7 times, showing me the utmost mercy," he said. "I now see that your wisdom and benevolence are unmatched. From this day forward, I will never rebel again." True to his word, Meng Huo persuaded the remaining rebel leaders to submit, and the entire Nanzhong region peacefully reintegrated into Shu Han's domain. Governing the conquered lands. After pacifying Nanzhong, Zhuge Liang allowed Meng Huo and the local chieftains to continue ruling their territories as before. When some ministers questioned this decision, saying, "We have fought hard to reclaim Nanzhong, Why not appoint officials to govern these lands directly? Zhuge Liang explained, if we install our own officials, we will need to station troops here, which will require constant supplies of grain. But this region is still recovering from war, and providing for a large army would be difficult. Furthermore, forcing direct rule upon the people will only breed resentment. If we allow them to govern themselves, there will be no need for military occupation, and peace will be maintained. Is this not the better solution? Hearing this, his advisors deeply admired Zhuge Liang's wisdom and foresight. Preparing for the northern campaign. Upon his victorious return to Chengdu, Zhuge Liang was greeted by Liu Shan and the court ministers, who came to the outskirts of the city to welcome him. The successful pacification of Nanzhong was widely celebrated. With peace restored in the south, Zhuge Liang turned his focus toward the north. He began stockpiling resources and training troops, preparing for a grand campaign against the state of Wei. His long-anticipated northern expeditions were about to begin.